My name is Carrie and I'm so glad that you can be here. We're going to be creating a great recipe, but before I get started, I want to remind all of you to click and subscribe. It's important that I stay on this platform and it's important that you follow along because I'm sharing such delicious, beautiful recipes. I don't want you to miss out on anything. Today we are going to be creating tacos de papa, and I'm making them dorado style, which is golden and crispy. So follow along and let's get started because I've got so much going on in the kitchen. I don't want to waste a minute. We're going to first of all talk about our ingredients, but I'm going to jump right into what we're doing today. We brought 2 cups of water to boil in a stock pan, and in this stock pan we are going to be creating a salsa roja. Salsa roja is so delicious with potatoes. I love the red chili combination and the crunchy shell. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get started. I live in southern New Mexico, and a lot of places when we order tacos, they ask you, would you like red or green salsa with that? So today we're going to be creating the salsa roja. 2 cups of water brought to a boil with about a teaspoon of salt. And I went ahead and I'm using the guajillo chilies. The guajillo chilies are a smoky, nice, flavorful red chili, and these are dried. So what we're going to do is we're going to reconstitute them, and we're going to fill them with water and be able to make a delicious salsa. So what we're going to do is we're going to break off the stem and remove the seeds. Even though a lot of people like to use the seeds, for today's recipe we're going to omit them. So I took the time and I've got my water boiling, and I went ahead and I dropped in that beautiful luscious red chili, and I'm adding 2 whole Roma tomatoes to the batch. That's going to give us a really nice, juicy, silky sauce. And today I'm using a little bit of onion. And when I say a little, I'm talking about 1/4 of an onion. And this was a medium onion. If it's small, feel free to use a half. If you like more onion, add it. If you don't like too much onion, you can skip it. But it's important, I think, it's a very important part. I'm adding in 2 cloves of garlic. One thing my mama always taught me when making salsa is use 1 clove of garlic for every tomato you use in your salsa. So we'll add 2 in there, and we're going to go ahead and cover that up. Now while those are cooking, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is a lovely recipe to make when you have leftover mashed potatoes. I always make a little bit of extra mashed potatoes so that I can make our crispy potato tacos the next day. So I peeled some basic potatoes. You can use any kind you like. I use the big baking potatoes that are the russet potatoes because they give me a large piece of potato to work with. And I peel them and I chop them and I put them in a nice salty bath. You want to make sure that your water is very salty so it can absorb all the flavors. Now I like to let mine boil anywhere between 10 and 12 minutes, but I know some of you live at a different altitude and it might take 15 minutes to get a really soft taco. But let me share with you what mine look like today. One of the things you can always make sure, or you can do to make sure that your potatoes are done, is that they are soft to the fork. And once you know that that's done, your potatoes, and let me backtrack just a bit. Remember, we boiled these potatoes and we have them ready to go. So to this mix, I am simply adding in salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic salt, and that's going right directly in my cooked potatoes. So I'll just shake those in there. And you know I love everything con queso. It wouldn't be Carrie's Kitchen if I wasn't dumping a bunch of cheese. So when I'm making my tacos de papas, the potato tacos, we want to use a low moisture cheese. So today we're using the mozzarella and we're using the Munster. Oh my gosh, look at that cheese. So not holding back, I'm dumping it all in. And so we have potatoes, we have cheese, and we have some spices. I'm going to go ahead and start mashing those up. And when you mash these, you'll see the cheese incorporates real well, and it makes a nice sticky stuffing for these delicious potatoes that we're making today. Now, I like to keep mine as a half mash or a good smash potato, but some people like to go ahead and make them real creamy. It's up to you completely what you'd like to do, but you don't want any lumps or bumps in them because we're going to be cooking these and making them a very crunchy taco. So I have a lot going on today, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to get dinner on the table. One thing I like is a lot of feedback I get on the cooking channel is from newlyweds, from ladies who maybe were lucky enough to marry a man from New Mexico, or they're for a different part of the state and they're interested in learning how to cook. So sometimes more advanced cookers might know how to do this, and you may have different styles. But the way I see it, and something that my granny always said, there are as many recipes to make salsa in New Mexico as there are beautiful women. So I bet you there's a ton of different recipes out there, because I know New Mexico makes the prettiest ladies around. Now that we've got these all mixed up, again, I'm just showing you that it's just a nice coarse smashed potato. I went ahead and I'm using a heavy bottom skillet. It's really important when we do a fried skillet that we don't want to use anything that's too thin. I like to use my cast iron as much as possible. Those always seem to retain heat and do very well. I know I'm running a lot of stuff by you guys, but it's important that we go ahead and keep on moving. Right now I have what is a 1/4 cup of oil in my pan. And some people are afraid of frying. They think you've got to fill things up and you've got to have a ton of things going on. But in reality, when we're making these delicious tacos, we need to just add in maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons. I don't even coat the whole entire bottom, and you can see we are just gonna slide that around. And today I am using these delicious corn tortillas. These are another tip I would like to let you guys know. When you're doing crispy fried tacos, don't be afraid to use 2- and 3-day-old tortillas. They really have the moisture that's evaporated out of them, and they make a really nice crispy shell. Or if you're making tostadas or chips in your house, let's go ahead and get started. So I have my corn tortilla, and we have our potato mixture that we just made. And what I do is I'm going to add it on there, and we're going to use about a tablespoon. We don't want to overfill these. And what I'm doing is I'm putting it in what I call a half moon. And so you can see that I filled in half of the taco with that, and I simply go ahead and I drop it down in our hot oil. And you'll see as they start to fry, we just really want the bottom to be coated there. And once it cooks for a minute or two, I simply just fold the taco over, and this one's having a little bit of a moment there. Bear with me, you know how the kitchen is. Nothing works always on the first taco, and especially when you have the camera rolling on you, it's gonna take me 1 extra second to make this one look pretty. All right, real quick, let's do another one. We're simply just taking our mixture of our cheese, our peppered potatoes. We're gonna add those in.
Already smells good.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that salsa is just roasting up. I can smell the garlic there. And some people like to fold them ahead of time. The reason I like to keep them like this is so that I don't have any tears in the shell. I let those go in there. Simply fold it over once it's had a minute. And you can see these cook real quick. Everything is already cooked inside. The potatoes are prepared. So all we need to do is get a nice crispy crunch moving on. So we've got those going on, and I work quick in the kitchen. I'm fast, and these potato tacos go so quickly when I'm cooking them for my family. I try to at least have 10 to 12 up before I tell them that dinner's ready. Again, just dropping it in, working with our crispy tacos, getting that nice little crunch on them there. We don't need much oil. And when we have a really hot skillet and we're cooking, you can see that we don't need much oil, and they're absorbed. The corn tortilla doesn't absorb a lot of the oils. So we've got all that going on, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna peek in and see how our salsa is doing. Oh, that looks great. One tip I wanna share with you is when you see that the skin starts splitting on your salsa, you know that those tomatoes are ready. I'm sorry, when the skin starts splitting on your tomatoes. And this chili is looking delicious. That red chili and the color, it is absolutely gorgeous. We're gonna let that sit for another couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna show you how easy it is to whip up that salsa roja. Okay. I love making crispy tacos. You can also make these with ground beef, you can use chicken, but I like to go ahead and incorporate. We're really looking at budgets right now when it comes to food, and it's really important that we stretch our budget. And you can get 8 pounds of potatoes. You can make several meals throughout the week, and potato tacos are delicious, especially when you have good salsa and a nice crispy tortilla going along with you there. Oh, we like that crispy frying. And you can see how crunchy those are getting. I always do the crunch. Yes, I like that crispy shell. We've got that going on. Okay, guys, we're gonna do one more while we're getting a nice crunch on those. And I'm gonna show you how to create that delicious salsa. And I'm gonna show you how to make a lettuce slaw. Have you ever heard of a lettuce slaw? Most of the time when we make a slaw, we have a cabbage. But my granny was such a lovely lady. We would love to eat mayo and lettuce. We would have mayo and lettuce sandwiches with cheese and lots of black pepper. But I like to shred my lettuce very thin, and I add just a little bit of mayo, and that creates a lovely way to top these crispy tacos. Perfect. These are coming together and they are looking lovely. Now, one thing I do like to also remind you, if you're not a cheese fan, you don't have to add the cheese, but I think it gives it such a nice, lovely, creamy, gooey filling inside with a nice crispy taco shell on the outside. Everything is coming together just beautifully there. All right, let's move a little bit this out of the way, and I'll be creating some tacos as we move on there. I'd like to go ahead and take a look at our salsa now. We've got a lot going on in the kitchen, and you know Carrie's crazy, but she loves to share all her secrets. So here, I'm simply going to remove my chili. Now, there are a lot of people who make chili, and they like to blend their chili first and then strain it. But since I'm making a salsa, what I do is I do small batches, and I use a nice, good, high quality blender that's going to just chop everything up really nice. And go ahead and add in all that reconstituted chili there. Oh, this smells so delicious. Now, I can run a lot of skillets at once, but feel free, if you'd like to make your salsa ahead of time, you can do that too. What I do with this salsa is I like to have it out with our tacos, but it's also really nice. You can put it in a little squirt bottle and you can squeeze it on top of things. This is also great to use on other items that you make as well. So we're going to go ahead and add that in there. How beautiful is that? I don't want to waste any of these juicy bits. Thanks for hanging on with me there. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Now, when we were talking about the different ways that people make chili, I was always taught not to use the water that we cooked our chili in, because it can have a bitter quality. I usually will add just a couple of tablespoons, but if you find that you need to add more liquid to your salsa to make it thinner, make sure that you don't use the water more than just a couple of tablespoons from there, because we don't want a bitter taste at all to our salsa. So attaching that there. Woo! Look at that. So I like to let this go for about a minute. It's really breaking it down and looking beautiful. And go ahead and let that rest. I'm going to flip these tacos over. You can see how crispy and crunchy those are. They look so good. There we go. You can see how nice and crunchy those are going. So with this here, go ahead and let that set for a second. When you're working with hot things, make sure you're very careful when you're opening up your blenders. You don't want any explosions or burns in your kitchen. I'm going a really fast pace today because I want to make sure that I share it all with everybody here today. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I want you to see how beautiful this looks. Now, once that's blended, I go in and I add in my spices. And today I'm using salt. You want to make sure that you use salt because it really enhances that chili taste. And I'm using a little bit of Mexican oregano. Some people like to drop in cilantro. I didn't do that today because we're going with a very basic, simple salsa roja. So I'm just going to add that in. And I'm going to use the lime, squeeze of lime. I use about a quarter. Not to give so much of a lime flavor, but we do need the acidic blend to keep it fresh so it stays nice in our refrigerator. Excuse me, I know I've got a lot going on here. We want to make sure that it stays fresh in our refrigerator. So taking these tacos out now, and you can see how lovely those look. My goodness. All right. And you can see how nice and crispy these are. And as soon as I get them plated, I'm gonna try and show you guys a better angle because everybody loves to see my delicious food here at the Zia Cooking Kitchen. Move that out of the way. Now, as we see these crispy tacos, and I think I've got a lot going on, so bear with me as I try to slide these out of the way. You can see how beautiful and delicious these are. Look at that. Woo, crispy tacos. Lovely.
That smell.
It's great. So the way I like to do that is we're going to take these scorching hot tacos that I just created. Move that out of the way there. And I want to jump into this real quick. And again, thank you guys for bearing with me. I know I have so much going on. Okay, make sure I'm not going to do a major mess in this kitchen here. So with my lettuce, which I've already washed, and I like to let it drain out and get real nice and crunchy, I simply am just going to create a very easy, simple slaw that we're going to do. And we just slice our iceberg lettuce very, very thin. And we don't need very much for our toppings today. We're going to take those with our nice clean hands. We're going to drop that into a bowl. You guys actually get to see the girl in action. This is exactly how I cook in my kitchen. This is mayo, a little bit of garlic salt, and some black pepper. We just need less than a tablespoon. And all we're going to do is just mix that in together. So this is how lovely things are going on here in the cooking kitchen with Terry and the Zia Cooking Show. We love it. Beautiful. I don't know if you've ever seen a more beautiful, gorgeous salsa than that. Look at that. It is delicious. Oh, the smell is heaven. So we've got our plate of tacos, and you can do this a variety of different ways. Some people like to open up their taco and stuff in the lettuce and the salsa. When I'm making these thin, crispy tacos, I like to just put a little bit of the garnish on the side or the top. And I'm going to drop in this beautiful red chili and show you how lovely it looks. Now I'm going to welcome you to subscribe. It's important that you come back to my kitchen. Make sure you hit that notification button. I wore the perfect colored dress to match my salsa roja today. And I am so glad that you guys were here with me today. I'm going to give you a big peace sign, send you out, and I'm going to let you enjoy watching me eat these crispy tacos. I don't know if I'll be able to get another word out of my mouth, but you better come back and see me again real soon. I'm glad you guys were here. Thank you so much for joining me in the Zia Cooking Kitchen. Please leave your comments below and hit subscribe, and I'll see you back in a week or two. Have a great day.
Don't eat them all.
Oh my gosh. Love. Lovely.